How do you get more videos done in less time? How do you juggle all of life's responsibilities while at the same time building up your YouTube side hustle or making your YouTube your main hustle and still keeping your sanity and routines and peace of mind, plus avoiding burnout? Well, today we have two special guests, and I want to welcome Mr. Wright Way first to our stream. How's it going?
How you doing?
Thanks so much for being here, and tell us a little bit about your channel. When did you start, and what is it you are up to on YouTube?
All right, so thank you guys. I am Mr. Wright Way, Steve Wright. I'm a retired Navy veteran. I started about 14, 15 years ago on YouTube, just throwing up videos, having fun. Didn't really take it seriously until the pandemic. Pandemic shut everything down, and yeah, look at this old video. Oh my goodness, look at that old iPhone.
Yeah, okay. This is that first
look
video.
At it. You know what? I was gonna make a video of roasting my first video, but here we go. Let's roast this. No, but oh my gosh, that is, look, my hair was like right up here, like way up here. But yeah, I was doing like iPhone videos, tech videos. Me and my friends, like Steve and Tech Buzz, we was doing stuff with that. And then the pandemic came, and I started to take it seriously. I was like, all right, what do I need to do? I love driving. I love going for video games and stuff like that. And I just like, you know what? Let me put all this together. And it was kind of like a blog, talking about video games, helping people out, helping collectors, because I have a purpose of helping people. I love to help people. And I want collectors to try to find video games and build their collection, say, the right way. You know, I don't want them to spend like $300-400 on games and stuff. If you want to get that game, I'm gonna show you how to go get that game. So that's basically what my channel's about. I call it lifestyle video gaming because I talk about a lot of other stuff with in doing the video game lifestyle, like building a game room. Like I just built this game room a year ago. Going to Japan, doing stuff with YouTube, going to Africa, just doing different things, trying to help the collector and the normal person just feel like, hey, if we're going to go to Goodwill, I'm gonna be right there with you. So look out for this, get that, and it just kind of have fun. I really like that.
Yeah, well, I'm so excited to hear your tips and everything you've learned as your channel has grown. And I mean, 35,000 subscribers, millions of views on the channel. But our second guest, as we dive into these 10 tips, is Dr. Anna Pleet. Welcome to the show, Dr. Anna.
Thanks for having me. This is awesome.
So grateful you're here. Now tell us, what is it you've been doing on YouTube and when did you start?
Great question. So I jumped on YouTube 13 months ago exactly. It was March 5th, 2023. And I had this burning desire to be able to create a space where I could kind of continue conversations with my patients, but outside of a clinical setting. And everybody knows that when you go to the doctor, you have like 5 minutes with the doctor and you can't possibly talk about everything you want to talk about. And my thing is always nutrition. So I thought, okay, I'm going to make this channel and I want to talk about health and healthy living, but specifically like healthy diet. And when I first started, I'll tell you, I didn't actually have the niche I have now. You know, the world of nutrition is massive. And I quickly learned that I needed to kind of break it down and niche down just within the field of nutrition, because there's carnivore diet, keto diet, vegan galore. I mean, you can imagine, probably a lot of you have seen anything with food or nutrition, there's a huge spectrum. So I was kind of struggling actually in the first few months. I think I was at 62 subscribers 5 months in. And that's when my husband actually found out about this challenge by Think Media. So I did this challenge at the end of July, just last summer. Wasn't that long ago. And it blew my mind, which is what I needed at the time. And I gave myself a double down August, and I committed to making 2 videos a week and kind of kept with that pace for 6 months. And lo and behold, a few months later, hit the monetization. A few months later, past 10,000 subscribers. And that all happened in less than a year, because 5 months in, I was at 62, and now I'm almost at 13,000. So it's been already quite a journey, but I feel like there's still so much more to learn. YouTube is a whole world.
Yes. Well, so inspiring to hear your story and so grateful for you both to add value today. So, ahead of this stream, we had Dr. Anna and Steve submit some points, and we've kind of consolidated those points. We're going to start with Dr. Anna here on point number 1. And there's 10 total points I want y'all to capture today. But point number 1 is plan in advance. And so, Dr. Anna, you said have both a long-term and short-term game plan. The audience really loves consistency. So what have you found the importance for staying consistent on YouTube success, and sanity when it comes to planning?
Yeah. I think a lot of us, if we're getting into YouTube, we're probably already in another career and we usually have other demands in our lives. So I knew if this was going to work, I would have to be extremely streamlined with how I was spending my time doing all of the steps of making videos and publishing them. And so what that meant was I needed to have my short-term plan, which meant what do I have to do to get this next video out? But the longer term plan, which had to be in my mind at all times, was what is the cadence of videos that I want to be posting? Kind of what's my month plan? And I know that sounds crazy, but I'm a doctor and I have very limited time for things outside of my career in medicine. So I just had to have both of those things in mind as I approached every step of it.
I love that. And you just hit it before, but one of your examples of planning was that for the first months until you hit monetization, go back into that. I love that. It was like a sprint, you called it, or like a double down?
I called it a double down August. So August for my husband and for a lot of Europeans is like the time off of the year. And I was trained for medicine in Italy. So we have kind of a European household, even though we're back living in the US. And so I realized, okay, August is the time where most people are totally off of work. And I'm going to flip the switch on myself and make this the time I've worked the hardest at this. I know some of you are thinking, wow, that's very intense. I've been known to be a little bit intense, but I have to say it was a lot of fun. And it required me to kind of cut out distractions. So I was seeing my friends less. I planned to see them just in the weekend, like as if I was preparing for, I don't know, some big exam. But instead of having to study, I was getting to make scripts and film myself and play in the kitchen and film that. And so it wasn't like studying for something. It was actually a lot of fun. But that focus, I just got into a pace and a rhythm, and getting into a situation is harder than actually just pedaling. Like think of riding a bike. The first few pedals is like you're overcoming that resistance. There's that acceleration factor, if any of you know anything about physics. So you have to push through that beginning hurdle. But once you're pedaling, your rhythm is just going. And so you'll be able to keep it going more easily than having to start from scratch or having to start from full stop.
Genius. And Steve, you mentioned research as part of your process, which is an aspect of planning ahead. But I also take this wherever you want. Okay. How has planning out your content or having any kind of content calendar helped you when it comes to being consistent?
It's big, man, because I'm all about visualization. Okay, it's early morning here in Dallas, but yes, I always take my comic book or my comic book reader right here. Just like I have all my notes in here. I put dates on this, and also if I have an idea, I put it in my iPhone. Like sitting there in my bed, I'll wake up at 2:00 and I have these amazing ideas, and I just write them down and stuff because I really do think like you need to visualize every video. That's coming from a photography background, wedding photographer also. You need to pre-visualize what you're going to make. So I always say you have a privilege of making videos as a content creator. You can put videos out there, but if you want to take this really serious, you got to actually have an idea and make that video. And when you have it's different to be putting it out there and just putting a video up instead of making one. It's so great. I noticed the views in my videos, like when I just put something up versus something I plan out and take time with. And I was like, wow, it does. People see quality. People like quality and stuff. I go kind of like the Facebook analogy. Like when you take a picture on Facebook and you put it up there and it doesn't look all great, but if you put it like your photo you took earlier, it looks all crisp and great. You put it on Facebook and like, it don't look all that great. It's kind of like that in a way when it comes to making your videos and stuff.
Yeah, I love that. So number one, have a plan in advance. And then Steve, we're going to stick with you for number two, set yourself up for success.
Yes.
You mentioned like having camera lighting and all this stuff set up, or
Mhm.
even having outfits planned out. But speak to, have you always had this room? And maybe speak a little bit to, has there been eras? You've been on here 14 years. I know for some people that are like, I only have my living room, my apartment's kind of cramped. But then
Mm.
there's today and there's the dream. So how has it evolved for you having like a dedicated filming space? And what are your tips for setting yourself up for success?
Like people say, I used to laugh at this, but they said, spend money to make money. And that's really kind of true. But you want to be smart where you spend your money at. Like get this for instance, these lights right here. I have this stream deck. So I just turn this light off right here. You see, it makes so much of a difference when I have this one little button that I can press. Paid $150 for it. One of the best things on my desk that I have. Also setting yourself up for success, like previous watch putting stuff down or getting classes. Or here's another thing too, billboards. We were talking about thumbnails, and I'm really passionate about thumbnails and stuff. If you driving down the street, notice the billboards and what catches your eye. Notice the colors, notice the pictures, notice the font, notice the placement on that. And whatever that catches your eye in that 2 seconds, put that towards your YouTube thumbnails and titles, because that's quick. That's how quick somebody can look at your video and stuff. I have a group chat with me and my friends, and we always going back and forth about thumbnails and titles and stuff. I have one friend, he loved these colors. I always call them the Fruitopia colors. I'll say, okay, if you like that, let's work with that, but let's put this, less is more. And the evolution of his thumbnails has got better, and so are mine. But it's just so hilarious about that. I always think about stuff like that when I'm out in the world. I look at movies and stuff, setting yourself up. Make sure you had the right camera gear, the right mics, the evolution you was talking about. Back in the day, you saw that first video. I was just holding my iPhone or a camera, just doing this in it. And I was like, okay, it's okay. Whatever you start is okay to start at, but just make sure you have evolution. I have another friend. He does a lot of YouTube video stuff about really expensive games and stuff. And you go look at his first video, and I told him, say, all right, just take this $1,000 and go buy you a nice lights and some nice cameras and a nice lens. And it's tremendously made his content 10 times better. So spend your money on good equipment. I'm telling you, it's worth its weight in gold, because so many people now are looking at YouTube videos outside of not looking at stuff on cable. I don't watch TV that much. I watch 100%. Well, I'll say 100%, but I watch a lot of YouTube. And I really do think if you take time and spend your money wisely on good equipment, your YouTube will take off.
Yeah, such great tips. And we're talking about setting yourself up for success. If possible, set up your audio, your lighting, the place you film ahead of time, so that saves time. Maybe make a dedicated place in your house. But Dr. Anna, you talk about batching. You said that batching is a must. How do you define batching and break down what you've learned here?
Yeah, I think I first came into the idea of batching from the VRA program. And the concept is pretty simple. It's understanding what are the different steps to make a video, and recognizing, okay, if you want to make what amount of time do you need to produce the next 4 videos? If, okay, you're doing 1 video a week, that's the amount of content you want to produce in a month. So with every video, you have pretty much the same steps to get to that place. First, you have to come up with the idea. So that usually is the title itself, sometimes even the thumbnail idea. Then you have to script it out. I actually script out full sentences. It's just helpful to me, but some people do bullet points. Okay, then you actually need to record yourself in front of a camera. And then you need to edit it. And if you are editing it yourself, like I was in the beginning, that is the most time consuming part. And then, of course, you have to publish it. So what I recognized was, okay, every video requires these same steps. And some of them obviously take longer than others, like editing is probably the bulk of the time. And so if you're doing everything yourself, like I was in the beginning, plan the next, whatever, 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 videos all at the same time, so that every time you're moving through that process in a linear fashion, you're doing it for more than one video at a time. So instead of coming up with one title idea and then jumping into making one script, instead, I was coming up with at least 4 to even 8 title ideas. And then I would decide which of those 8 are the 4 that I'm going to fully script out. And it would take a full day to kind of do that. Not a full day, but these are my evenings after work. And then when you record, plan out, okay, it's going to take a couple hours, but I'm going to record 4 videos at once. And then you slowly edit them and publish them over those weeks. It saves more time than you can even imagine.
So brilliant. And tell me, back when you started, you mentioned you were doing everything. What camera, what video editing software, how did you learn it? And then what is your process for video editing and shooting today?
Wow, it's been an evolution. So I started with my iPhone 14 and I was doing everything by myself. My very first videos, I actually made them private on YouTube because I find them kind of embarrassing, but fun to look at later when I recognize how far I've come. And then per my husband's recommendation, I bought for $20 a string microphone to attach to my shirt, and then it plugged into my phone. And then I leveled myself up and got a ring light rather than just propping my phone up. So now I had my setup. It was my phone shooting it in, pro tip, if you have an iPhone, instead of just regular video mode, go to cinematic mode because it automatically makes the background a little bit blurry. And I noticed that made my videos pop a lot. So that was my setup. It was plug in $20 microphone, $25 ring light with the phone holder, and then my iPhone, which I had anyway. And then I was editing everything on CapCut. I did buy the pro version. I think it was like $75 for the year. And I was doing it all myself. And it was exhausting. And then finally, my husband was like, I got to figure out how to do editing so I can help you out. And then he got pretty good and he got Final Cut Pro. I think that was our first like level up moment where we kind of invested money. And so we had our new software and he was helping me out. And now we actually are paying editors that we found on Fiverr. Only started doing that a month ago. It is the biggest time saver that I'm sure you can imagine because that was the most time consuming part. And now that's completely offloaded onto other people. So I can just focus on making more videos, better videos, and then all the marketing, all the other parts of the 7R system that kind of come at the end.
Man, drop some fire in the chat for that breakdown and those tips. And I love this because I know there's so much information we're getting here in the challenge, but I want to encourage you, like, it's all about getting 1% better with every upload. And as Steve was talking about, like, start with whatever you have. Dr. Anna, start with whatever you have, but imagine and dream about how you can improve over time. And then maybe a partner or a friend or a spouse gets involved and you can just start on your phone editing, but then eventually you could delegate that to somebody else. And so it's all a process, which brings us to tip number 3, which is energy management and time management is important. And so really today's session is all about time management, productivity, maybe scheduling, batch producing content. But we're going to start with Steve because there's this whole other side where YouTube takes emotional energy, physical strength. And some of the tips you wrote was you even talked about kind of like being in the mood to create content and even practical stuff like making sure you eat. So talk a little bit about this, about not just your time management, but your energy management.
You have to know what type of person you are. I'm a night owl. I know this. So I take advantage of that. I make and edit my best content after 6 o'clock. And that's good for me too, because this is how I guess I give you a little behind the scenes, how I make my content. And before I get this started, I know a lot of people in the chat was talking about what is a Stream Deck. If I can pull this up really quick, this is pulling stuff over, but this is a Stream Deck right here by Elgato. It's kind of dusty, but it's really helpful. You can put a lot of little stuff on there, like your lights, and then like for video game stuff, you can put like little sound stuff like that. If you know what that is from, you're cool. But yes, knowing your moods. I'm a night person. If you're a night person, do it. If you're a morning person and jump up and do it, great. Make sure you have energy. Make sure you eat. I know, like eating, oh my goodness. And also your mental health. This is super important. know the days that you can't make content, but have some backups ready. But don't beat yourself up if you can't make content for that week. I think as content creators, we beat ourselves up because we see all these people making these videos and they're getting these millions of views and getting these subscribers. Run your race, okay? Know your body. Pray. And I know a lot of Christian faith-based people out there, talk to God about this. Like, I can't get out of bed today. I'm going to take a chill, but don't beat yourself up. Your mental health is important. I always say, protect your brand. And when you protect your brand, that means protecting your peace, protecting your mind, make sure you eat healthy. Hey, get some coffee, have some coffee, have an energy drink, get some good food. Like the doctor was saying, make sure you look at her channel, get some great eating tips, work out. You only get this vessel once. This is your only body you get. Make good of it. If you can't make videos for 2 weeks, that's okay. Use your community page. You know how great the community page is? I went to Japan last year and I'm going back, but I really wanted to stream live in Japan. I couldn't, so I just got on my community page and had conversations with my audience, and they understood. Your audience will be there. But I stress you guys, mental health is important. Know your body. Know what you can do, know your limits. Don't push yourself. I got to get a video out. If you can't get it out, that's okay. If you can get half video done and then half done next week, it's okay. Your audience loves you. They will be there. Do not compare yourself with other people. I'm telling you guys, it's so important. I've been through this. That's how I can tell you. I've been through this. It's no joke, but have fun while you're doing it also.
Man, I love this particular tip, and I'm excited to hear from Dr. Anno coming with the real wisdom too here. Like, it's your specialty, but I also think about this for you personally. It's not just about time management. It's also about energy management. So what are some tips for us in this category?
Oh, wow. This is just such a perfect segue. I feel like I was back here clapping for Mr. Wright Way, your amazing answer. Yeah. Stamina is a factor that I think is really underrated when it comes to productivity and feeling good in life. What is stamina? It's like the ability to be able to sustain energy for a long period of time. And so the way I always think about this is like, I think about a soldier going into training or a battle or whatever. The goal is not to do a sprint and just get done something that's in the next hour. You got to maintain yourself for a way longer than that. And you got to maintain your ability to kind of keep yourself together. So when it comes to filming and making videos, I recognize that the part that was the most energy consuming for me was, of course, the filming. I need, especially with what I'm trying to do on my channel, I'm trying to get people motivated to take care of their diet and their health and feel excited about eating well. So I have to have high energy in my videos. And I also am an energetic person. So I can tell you, I have had to refilm a couple of times. The recording went just fine. The audio sounded good. My face was like, I was exhausted and I could see that. And this is kind of the downside of batching. If you are going to be recording 4 or 5 or even 6 videos in the same day, you got to kind of prepare for that. Like you would prepare for something serious in your life. And so I needed to recalibrate. And there have been so many times where I planned on recording 4, 5, or 6 videos. And I get to the end of the third and I'm like, you know what? That's it for today. And that's okay. And like, that's exactly what you guys were just hearing about a couple of minutes ago. Like the ability to have that like introspection and that self-awareness to know when you've reached your maximum. It's a good thing to know when to say no to yourself, because the goal is not to just get it done today. You got tomorrow, you got next week. And like content creation is a long game. And so having that long-term trajectory with each step is going to also make it more enjoyable for you if you don't try to like cram it out. And you've seen people on YouTube are like making these trendy videos now of like why they're quitting YouTube. Like you don't have to be that way. It doesn't have to go that way for you. So know that there's always a choice with how to approach all of this stuff. Man,
I'm getting so inspired because also these are some of the lesser talked about topics related to YouTube. And, you know, when I think about our community and the VRA community, like I want to link arms with people that can not just help us do YouTube, succeed on YouTube, but also last over the long haul. We're going to need wisdom. We're going to need routines. We're going to need rhythms. And I've also learned now with the 1-year-old and a 3-year-old that seasons change, and sometimes you need a new playbook for a new game. And this whole parenting thing. And I heard that having one kid is like having one kid, and having two is having 5. So that's kind of what's happening at our house. My wife's downstairs right now, chaos. This morning, Sean Bradley and John Steven were like wrestling on a rocking chair and like fell over, and we got a fat lip, and they're like punching each other. And so we're like, here we are. And we're together right now, and my wife's amazing. But what's the point? Man, energy management and time management. That's going to be the engine. And I love that definition of stamina, which brings us to tip number 4, which is work smarter, not just harder. We're going to go back to Dr. Anna. And there was a lot of nuggets I pulled out of your tips here. But one of the ones, you could break this down however you want, but you talked about how sometimes you think you got to come up with new stuff all the time, and actually repeating yourself is okay. Not only that, people need to know, or they maybe haven't seen your video before. And the way you put it is, you don't need to come up with as many new ideas actually as you think. So talk a little bit about how that point and anything else on work smarter, not just harder.
Yeah, this is a phrase that came into my life in a really foundational way when I had to study for my medical board exam. And that's basically a summative exam of everything I learned in medical school. And the stakes are really high. And so the way people do that well without killing themselves, basically, is that they have to have a smart plan and kind of execute with strategy so that they don't burn out. So I realized the same is absolutely true for making a channel. And this was actually something I directly got from Sean Cannell's team, whole VRA program, is the idea of making a content marathon. So what's that? That's where you take a few of your previously posted videos that are probably still live. You kind of either chop them up or combine them in a way where you film the hook so it looks like it's a new video when somebody clicks on it, because it's fresh. And then maybe you film something in between each of the previous segments. So that could be previous comments that you got on those videos, or it could just be like a new voiceover of saying, and now we're going to turn our attention to blank. So I did this. Actually, at the time, my husband's going to kill me for saying this, but he thought it was going to be a bad idea, because it's literally reposting videos that were already up there. Like, it's not new. And I said, I don't know. VRA says that this is like a cool strategy, like a nice, fresh way to repost a video without having to make one. And so this was during the Christmas week. We posted our first content marathon. It was December 27th. And it is like the thing that has kind of taken us to the next level by like the nth degree. It has just exploded our channel from a content marathon. It's not even I didn't really refilm anything. I just filmed like 20 seconds at the beginning saying, hey guys, like these are all the different meal ideas you can have on the Mediterranean diet. But guess what? The breakfast video, the lunch video, the dinner video, the snacks and the dessert videos were already on my channel, and they all did like medium okay. And this one has just blown up. So you will surprise yourself with what works. And sometimes you put all this effort into a video, you think it's going to blow up, and like just doesn't land. But rest assured, there's always a way to kind of repurpose stuff or repackage it in a smart way, without having to start from scratch. And so I kind of have, beyond like making that content marathon, I derived a lot of lessons from that doing well. And it's that, okay, I do need to kind of repeat certain concepts from one video to another. If the first video did well, it's probably going to do well again the second time. So I have a video about like breakfast ideas on the Mediterranean diet. Okay, I ended up talking about a lot of sweet tasting foods. So I made basically a mirror one, but instead of sweet, it was savory breakfast ideas. And that one also did well. So you can kind of get the idea, like it depends on your niche, but you can come up with video ideas without coming up with new video ideas, if that makes sense. Yep, there it is. Savory breakfast. That's the one. Like 9,000 views. That's one of my better videos. I didn't really put that much thought into it. So
yes,
it's kind of the journey.
This is so inspiring because we're talking about work smarter, not just harder. And YouTube takes hard work, no doubt about it. It takes discipline, managing your energy. But I am so inspired because, there's nobody else that's ever taught content marathons. It's one of, I mean, literally, I think on the internet or across other channels, it's one of the most underrated strategies. And to be clear, we can't go into the whole thing, but in VRA Masters, Video Ranking Academy Masters, there's 16 different content formats and strategies. And sometimes we get stuck in like one rut, realizing like there's a lot of different plays in the playbook that you can execute. And what Dr. Anna was sharing there is her most viewed video is a content marathon, which basically is stitching together strategically previous videos that she had made, and talk about working smarter, not harder. Some hard work went up front, but then you post it and you almost feel like, oh, this is almost too simple and too easy. But then the compound effect there, and it's pretty wild. So anyways, again, that is one of those things that's inside of Video Ranking Academy. But I want to ask Mr. Wright Way, Steve, you've been doing this long enough to know that, wow, I did it, a certain way.
Mm-hmm.
And now I realize that was kind of the hard way. Here's like the smart way I do it now. Any inspiration that comes off this tip, work smarter, not just harder?
And I thought you were about to go and say, what's the right way?
Ah!
You had a chance to take it right there.
Dance.
In my genre, it's a little different because with video games and collectors like a certain style or a certain topic. So for instance, I'm doing this thing called the PlayStation Pursuit, where I'm going to collect this certain type of video game or collection of video games. And I have those like episodes, not episodes, but different places. And they do good. But I have sometimes some people come who are very new, who haven't seen that. So I will like stitch all of the best parts together, and then people can watch that. Almost like I kind of put those. I have one in the can right now that I'm going to put out where I'm making it searchable, making that video searchable because I've seen people looking for this certain topic. So basically I'll say, okay, if I see somebody looking for a topic, I'm going to make a video based on that. But I already had the video, but maybe they haven't found it. So if I work hard, put all that video together and put that just for them, when they search in Google, it pops right up. Now, if you do type in like PlayStation, if you go on Google right now, and it's pretty cool. If you type in, what is it? I'm going to try to think of it. PlayStation Greatest Hits. You will see some of my videos pop up. So, and I was like, all right, PlayStation Greatest Hits. And then you'll see, boom, you'll see Steve Wright. You'll see Mr. Wright Way. And this is he right here. You like see right there. So that's what I'm trying to do. It's not as a popular topic, but a lot of collectors don't go after something like this, but that's what I'm trying to do. And it's like for the collector. So I tell my group and stuff, like I said, make videos, evergreen. And this is an evergreen video because I know how collecting goes. And I've seen it just from Nintendo to the NES, for like Sega, all the way to now. I see how that is. So I'm like, all right, I'm gonna take that knowledge and I'm gonna put it in a video, and boom. Years later, they might find it. And I don't know when it will go off. Like I had 3 or 4 of these videos just pop off, and I made it like 2 years ago. I'm like, okay. So it's basically just that's my advice on it,
Yeah, that's genius. And what I love there too is what you heard is in certain niches, things are a little bit different. So you might be watching this and wondering, hey, can these tips work for me if I'm an entertainment channel or if I'm a vlogging channel? Maybe if you also are a health or recipes channel, you're like, okay, it's kind of obvious how I could do what Dr. Anna's doing. But even as Steve was breaking down, he's like, it's a little bit different for my channel on the videos I'm making. However, he's like, there was a certain vertical I figured out, PlayStation Greatest Hits, and those were evergreen. And those evergreen videos, what does evergreen mean if we're new to that term? I grew up in Seattle, born in Seattle, and we have what's called evergreen trees here. So whether it's summer, spring, winter, fall, the trees are green year round. And so an evergreen video is a video that can get views and can rank year round. But what's powerful, right, is that can keep bringing you viewers. So just for those that have been joining VRA and thinking about that system, one of the things to know is you don't have to do every video the same way, or 100% of your videos don't have to be search-based or evergreen. But we really recommend that some are, and even as many as possible, because the more evergreen rank videos you have, the more people that are discovering you, subscribing to you. And then if you just do a live stream, if you do something else, if you do something that's more personal, well, now you actually have an audience there, and you have a new audience discovering you all the time. So again, it's not about knowing just one play. I think another way that I like to say it is, it's like if you're going to build a house, you don't just use one tool. You've got a nail gun in a certain situation, a saw in a certain situation. You want to make sure you have a level to solve that problem. You want to recommend that you've got a sander to solve another problem. And so we really, inside of our program, we're going to help you get all of the tools to think about solving these different problems. And so inspiring. And I'll move past tip number 5. Number 4 was work smarter, not harder. Number 5 was smart strategies and systems save time. Things like batching, shooting multiple videos at once, researching ahead of time. Things like content marathons, like knowing particular tools like how to do content marathons are going to save you time over the year. But let's skip to number 6 now. Keep it simple and stack successful videos. If you're ready to get serious about starting and growing a successful YouTube channel, then you're going to love vrapodcast.com. For a limited time, we have a special sale happening on our YouTube course and coaching membership that includes the online course, the 80-page workbook, and access to the private community. Inside of this program, you have everything you need for starting a successful YouTube channel all in one place. You get access to checklists and resources that will save you time, reduce stress, and help you reach your YouTube goals faster. But also, the most powerful part is the community. It's not just other creators and entrepreneurs that are ambitious and reaching for their goals, but it's also the Think Media faculty that's in your corner, answering your questions and helping you stay motivated on your journey to YouTube success. And for a limited time, we are running a big sale at vrapodcast.com. So if you want to check it out, just click the link in the show notes or go to vrapodcast.com. All right, let's get back into the episode. Now, one of the things, Dr. Anna, that you said was you talked about clarity is better than creativity. I'm curious what you mean by that, and break that down a little bit.
Yep. So you have to think of YouTube audiences as people who are coming to, well, there's really 2 ways that people come to YouTube. One is people are coming because they are trying to figure something out that's usually pretty specific. So it's like, what kind of a light bulb do I need for this lamp? Or what kind of, cleaner product should I use for grease on the wood floor? So that's really specific stuff. But a lot of the time, now that we have these smart TVs and people are watching YouTube like on the couch on their big screen, people are coming to relax. And that doesn't mean you have to think of making videos as, oh, I have to entertain people. No, people feel relaxed by learning something, but you also have to approach it in kind of a relaxed way. And so what I recognized was the content that I was making that was absolutely by far getting the best hits, like the algorithm was just pumping it the most, were the most simple things that I was talking about. If I tried to start incorporating like all the research behind the Mediterranean diet and like why it's so beneficial for our health in terms of its decreased risk for cardiovascular disease and stroke, but it's better for diabetes, like I was losing people in the weeds, and those videos really just tanked. And I recognized like, okay, the recipes when I was actually cooking or giving like breakfast ideas, like that's the stuff that really stuck. And I realized like, okay, I just need to have a really simple purpose for making this video, and I need my message to be simple, and that has to come through with the title and the thumbnail, because otherwise like it's just too complicated. And what I mean by stacking successful videos, so recognizing the patterns of like, okay, this thing, it's simple and that's probably why it's sticking. I should probably like follow that path and do more things similar. So what the videos are that are inside that content marathon that I did that worked really well, it didn't start with even having a plan to make that video. It was, I just wanted to make a video about healthy breakfast. And because that video did so well so quickly, I was like, oh, I can stack that idea and I can make a lunch one. And then I realized that one did well too. So I just decided, okay, I'm going to make dinner, snacks, and desserts. And the idea for that content marathon later of smushing them all together and reposting it came even later. And so just following like the results that you're getting from YouTube analytics is going to drive your direction sometimes. And you do have to kind of trust the process. Like it can be scary because I'm like, this wasn't my plan. Like I wanted to empower people with all of the data behind this diet. It's like, people just want to know what to eat for dinner. And so I had to kind of reel it back and like, I'm a doctor. I don't have to be a doctor in every sense of that word. I can also just be a person with my viewers, and people respond better to that than you'd think, to be honest.
So good. And Steve, let's kick it over to number 7 here. Personalize the VRA system to your life and your goals. So grateful that y'all have been a part of VRA and a part of our community, and iron sharpens iron, because even in an environment like this, we're learning how we take like the system, but then you apply it a certain way. And we'll talk to Dr. Anna in a second. There was an R that she actually kind of was able to skip because she's having success without it. And so we'll learn about that in just a second. But for you, how did kind of going through that, maybe getting some ideas, but then also personalizing some of those tips to your particular channel, what are some of your thoughts there?
I wasn't afraid to fail, basically. I think, and that's the biggest thing I got out of it, because I noticed it's this perception that everybody has to succeed on YouTube. If you don't get so many views, you're a failure. And a lot of people forget that you got to just have fun with it. And like for my life goals, like if you see here in the background, a big YouTube button back here. And now I got this personally from YouTube when they had selected me last year. I was part of their last program for black content creators, YouTube Black, and that just came out. No, I just filled it out and boom, it happened. And that was such a huge blessing. But at one of the conference, we was in Nairobi, and they had these these YouTube buttons. I said, you know what? I'm going to take one of these and I'm putting that right there. And my silver play button is going to go right there one day. So like I said, I'm always about pre-visualization. I'm always looking ahead. But also too, I take YouTube seriously, but I don't take it seriously because I think it's a privilege. I have fun. I try to help. I try to just relax and have fun with it. It's like, it's a joy doing this. I like my career in the military ended, so I had to find something to do. And that's another thing. As a man, you need something to do. You just can't just sit around and be like, okay, what I'm going to do. So I went to YouTube, and this is gave me such new life and just hidden goals. Like, okay, I want to get like 50,000 next and then 100, I see those goals, making good goals and stuff like that. But also I make sure, I think I heard you say this when it says, people used to say, practice makes perfect, but it's perfect practice makes perfect. And I always try to practice perfect on everything I do for my life, video. I'm not a script person. If you can hear me talk right now, I do not go in no script. I just off the cuff, just like that. I guess it's a good gift that God gave me, but I just do that. And I guess you could say the lessons in VRA, I could apply that and just kind of tweak them to myself and stuff. That's the way I tweak it and stuff. I just really say, guys, just have fun. Don't take it super duper seriously, but take it seriously. Understand, look on the back end and stuff. Also, don't be afraid to get help. Oh my goodness, that's a big thing. If you get help, ask people, and also ask people who don't watch YouTube is a big thing too. Like, if you got some people say, all right, hey, check this thumbnail out. What do you think about it? And don't take it too personal. Also, don't take anything personal, because this is our baby. And sometimes we're like, you don't like it. I suck as a creator. No, you don't. You just like, it's more than that. So yeah, I can go on that, but that's how I like to my life. So
yeah, such valuable insights. And Dr. Anna, you shared something specific in relation to how you went through the VRA system. What was the benefit you found there? But also you found specifically on that Rocket R, which we teach, depending on what happens once you release the video, you can go on social media and promote it places and send it to your email list and do all this stuff. And you actually kind of found an insight that works for you. So break that down of how you personalize the system.
Yeah. great question. And I'm going to kind of break it up in two parts. So first, like, what did VRA give me? I needed structure. I didn't have that. I was every video kind of bouncing around topics. I was like, okay, one video I'm going to make it about diet. The next one was about like sleep tips. And the other one was about like how to boost your immune system. And not only was that confusing to me, I didn't really have a focus. I was clearly confusing the algorithm. And this is something that I learned. It's like you do need to feed the algorithm with what your topic is about, like your channel, for it to really give that to the right people. And so I was getting stuck because I didn't have the wherewithal to appreciate like how does the whole system work together. So VRA gave me a structure for how to approach it. And then the results just kind of came naturally from there. So I was like, okay, they obviously know what they're talking about. They've been doing this for a while. But to your second question, what about my process did I do that worked and what stuff wasn't working for me? So part of the VRA system, it's like how you take from a video idea all the way to like blast it out to like the ether, like all over the internet. And I was finding that my focus on trying to go from my long videos, clip out the shorts, go into CapCut, edit them with a higher level of editing detail, because that's what people like on shorts, and then pump that to TikTok and Facebook Reels and Instagram Reels and YouTube Shorts. Like I was getting really distracted by that. And this is something that this is not just about content creation. This is in life. We have to be really careful to not listen too much to the results, especially on a platform like TikTok. It's just like a dopamine overload. And so I was like, oh my gosh, like this video got 300 views in the first 30 minutes. Like at the time I had like, 25 people on YouTube subscribe to me. I was like so stoked. But recognize that there's like totally different kinds of audiences that go to those other social media platforms than a YouTube audience. So I was getting really distracted by all those other social platforms. And like, I'm so glad that I was kind of doing this whole thing with my husband. He recognized that. He was like, we need to just focus. Like, what do you want out of this? And I was like, I want a YouTube channel that people can keep coming back to and learn from. And he was like, okay, why don't we just stop doing shorts or reels altogether? Like, we don't need to pump this right now. And if I didn't decide to pause that other stuff, I definitely would not have the results I have now, because it allowed me to just bare bones get down to like, what did I have to do to just make long form videos really well? And it allowed me to focus on that. And like, as we were kind of saying throughout this whole session, YouTube, it's not hard. Like, it's not like being a surgeon, but it's also not easy. You don't want to overestimate like what it's going to take to do something well. Like the people you see that have like huge audiences, like A, they didn't start with those big audiences. They all started at zero and they learned over time. But B, what they're doing now is all a result of everything else that they did before that wasn't working. And these are the things that did work. And that's what they stuck with over time. So you need to recognize that like when you're getting into this, especially in the beginning, you got to have that grace with yourself to be like not judging yourself, because those people have been doing it for a while and they've already troubleshot and kind of learn from their mistakes and cut out the things that weren't working, just as we've described here already today. Like I've learned a lot of stuff that wasn't working and now I'm not doing that. So the 7R system is so good and it's really comprehensive, but you have to recognize like where you're at in your journey and also like what season you're at and which parts are appropriate for now and which parts can be saved for later. So that's part of it.
Well articulated. And this is one of my favorite points, especially everything you touched on related to social media there, because the truth is you do not need to be on all of the social platforms. And there's 3 seasons we actually teach. We talk about the side hustle season, which when you've got a full-time career, and even as you continue to have one, then that's the season that is perpetual. Continuing to be a doctor, but also having your impact over here. Then there's the solopreneur season, and then there's the scale season. And not everybody has to go to the scale season, which would be assuming we start building up a team of some kind. Saying that social media is so powerful, and someday maybe you will chop up your content and be on every platform. And you also got to, if it's working for you, then it's working. But one of the biggest things we see that gets people stuck is doing too much at the start, is being too distracted at the start, is chasing too many things at the start. And there's nothing to say that you can't 6 months in or a year in. And Dr. Anna, just in the last month, has now hired an editor and getting into the rhythm there. Then maybe there's a time where that also could be outsourced. Somebody else could chop up your content and post it on other social media platforms if that matters. But at the start, so even as you're going through, because I know those that have jumped into VRA, as you're going through the 7 R's, we're asking you to understand the system, but to personalize the system and be aware of what season of life are you in, and keeping it simple. And brings us to number 8, which is focus on what moves the needle. Focus on what moves the needle. And that's kind of an echo of this last point, in the sense of, posting on TikTok and being like, wow, I got 300 views or 300,000 even. Like, it's a different audience. And did it really move the needle? Did it really help you get closer to your goals? Focus on what moves the needle. We're going to come back to Dr. Anna in a second about, even sometimes there's something that gets people stuck. They over focus on something that's a lot less important than what will tell you is important. But I'm curious, Mr. Wright Way, like, when it comes to YouTube, you've been doing this long enough. You're collaborating with other creators. You have some collab shows and stuff. What are some of the things that you think people get distracted by that are just a lot less important than what really matters when it comes to YouTube success?
Not knowing when to pivot. Not knowing when that pivot, you can see it. Because when you're in my genre, we have a lot of people do kind of the same thing I do. And it's this thing, I'm a big wrestling fan, as you can see with the Rock shirt. But it's this thing that a wrestler said, or a creator said, it's 3 things. You can be the same, better, or different than. And always try to be different than. You got to know when to pivot. And when that pivot, you have to go through that season of everything's not going to work, because the algorithm and the people are still trying to, they're used to oh, well, you're doing this one type of content, but I'm not used to this content. Stick with it. Stick with your vision and see it through. But also to help your audience see through this. Like, hey, on your community page, like, hey guys, all right, we started a new series today. It may bring some new people in, but we're not going away from what we're doing. We're still sticking with this. And with your bread and butter in the channel, keep your bread and butter videos on the channel. Keep doing that, but slowly introduce different things and stuff. Like that PlayStation Pursuit thing. I slowly entered that, slowly put that in the channel. Like learning to pivot. When you pivot, it's different for everybody in every genre. It's for every person too, because you can do like a cooking video and it goes great, but then you say, I want to do something else, and then you pivot and it might not do good, but you got to know when to. You'll feel it, you'll see it. Your audience will tell you. Another thing is, I'm just going out thinking about a lot of stuff because I'm just excited about getting all this information out. Just don't be afraid to try new things. Also, everything might not work. Oh, this is another thing too. If you can look at my channel today, I know what doesn't work on my channel, but I'm okay with it. Like long form podcasts, lives and stuff. That's okay for my channel, but I still put that out there as content. Every piece of content is a chance for you to learn and fail. So it used to bother me so much. Yes, not this one, but go back to the other one. It's the channel, a video I just released yesterday under the videos. Yes, right here at the Game on Expo. Me and my friend Mega Ran. He's a really good video game rapper. He got a children's book, children's album, great stuff. This is from a convention I was invited to, and he was one of my guests. Now, these videos do not do well on the channel like this interviews, because people just don't want to see that. But I put that out there because I think it can still help somebody and it's good content, but also too, it helps me learn that, like, you know what, this video might be a bomb, but I think it's great content, and it's okay to put it out there. You still just put your content, build your content, because you never know when somebody is going to find that and it's going to shoot to the moon. You never know who's going to watch. You never know who's watching. So just keep putting it out there, keep learning. Don't be afraid to fail. Don't be afraid to pivot, but also know when to, because your audience, your views, and the back end of YouTube will tell you when it's okay to pivot and when your pivot is working.
So So good. And I'm excited about this tip because, you know, if we want to grow and get 1,000 subscribers, we want to start earning some money, get monetized. There are certain things that are going to maybe not impact that, or have less move the needle. They're not going to get us closer to the goal. And there's some things that are really going to get us closer to goal. And Dr. Anna, you said this. I want you to break this down. You said the look of your channel does not matter nearly as much as you think. Break that down.
Yep. This was one of the hardest lessons I think I was confronted with doing content creation myself. I realized that, you know, people, how are people discovering you? Okay, so think about this. People don't know your name. They don't know what your channel's called. They don't know any of your content. They're only usually seeing you either from the homepage because the algorithm just popped you on there, or it's a suggested video at the end of somebody else's video that they were tuned into. So the way people usually discover you, if you're new or if you're like a smaller channel, is just by seeing one video at first. They're not starting from your homepage. And so if the goal is to build up momentum and obviously create a library of content that when people then do see a video from you and they're like, ooh, I like that, or I want to see more, then they'll go see your homepage. And so I had to realize, like, for the first several months, like, I could just pick a banner for my homepage. I could just make my thumbnails the way I like them. I can always change that stuff later. And you'll see this even from the biggest YouTubers. Like, they're always evolving the look of their brand. And that just makes sense because they're evolving as people too. And so I recognize, like, okay, the people who want to watch your videos, if you hook them in that first video and they want to see more, it is not because of what your channel looked like. And so I realized, like, I'm not going to spend any more time on this. Like, I just used Canva free for a while. Now I pay for it. Was a really good money well spent, I have to say. But ultimately, it's like, just pick something and go with it, and you're going to be able to change it later. Now, at the same time, I will say, when I started VRA in July of last summer, there were people that were like in my cohort, like they had done the challenge with me and we all kind of started at the same time. And I started to message with some of them, and like, they were all like, we were kind of like pumping each other up. And it's really interesting to see like the different ways people take the knowledge and like how they're applying it. And of course, everybody has different goals when it comes to YouTube. So you can't compare the way one person is doing it to another. But there have been a few channels I've seen from people who started with me, and I've seen their branding, like the look of their page, change like 10 or 12 times already in the last few months. And I think they've gained like 100 subscribers. And I can see they've obviously spent time and energy thinking about that, but it's not moving the needle. Now, maybe not everybody's trying to grow a lot of subscribers. So like, I can't put any judgment value on that, but I would assume that everybody's trying to grow their channels if they're on YouTube. And you can just recognize, like, there's definitely a time and place for everything. Everything matters, but it doesn't always matter at the same time. And I needed to hone in on that and just like cut out kind of the stuff that didn't make a difference and save it for later.
This is a big bomb because when I just typed it and summarized, videos are more important than channel art. And if you really think about it, like, if we compare the two, channel art like doesn't matter at all if you never post a video and if you never make a great video. So of course, even when we do channel reviews, sure, avatar, cover, and yes, the thumbnails are a big deal, and that'll eventually be the way your homepage looks when you create a collection of videos. So we're not saying branding and marketing and colors doesn't matter. You want to have excellence and all that stuff, but I totally agree. It's that you just revealed for everybody here, like, one of the ways you could get stuck, just being overly concerned with what's the vibe of my channel, what are the details of my channel, like to the detriment of what actually moves the needle: a great video, a ranked video, a video that's done, a video that people are discovering. And people are not discovering channels, they're discovering videos. The YouTube homepage does not recommend channels, it recommends a video. And then eventually the journey is people will discover your channel. And thus, if they click through and see that, this would not mean that don't upload cover art, but put the emphasis where the emphasis needs to be. Focus on the things that actually move the needle. Focus on posting great ranked videos that'll get you views for years to come, instead of getting so obsessed with posting, chopping up a clip, putting it on TikTok and being like, wow, I got 12,000 views. Kind of meaningless, actually, like the quality of the audience. You know, the CMO of HubSpot said that YouTube subscribers are the most valuable subscribers on the internet. And as someone who is posting on all the social media platforms with a team that allows it to be sustainable for the season of life I'm in, if it came down to one thing, it's all YouTube. When I started in the side hustle season, it was YouTube only. Focus. I've heard it said that focus stands for follow one course until successful. Focus. And we can always update in the different seasons. And so focus on what's moving the needle. All right, we've been going 60 minutes. We're going to land the plane on the final 2 tips here. Tip number 9 is pace yourself and play the long game. We've already touched on that one a little bit. And so we're going to land the plane here on tip number 10. And Mr. Wright Way, we'll go back to you. And you already touched on this, but have fun and enjoy the journey. And in fact, before you break that down, let's do a shout out to your stuff just so that everybody can know where they can follow you and connect with you. I want to just acknowledge you for the inspiration of the content you're creating. Thank you for being a part of our community. Thank you for your service and for serving our country in the Navy. Grateful from the bottom of my heart and the rest of our Think Media team. We love our military. We love our country and very grateful for you. And but tell us, how can people connect with you, follow you, and then we'll all have your tips on that final point.
Oh, thank you so much. I always joke on my podcast that don't follow me, you know where I'm at. But no, seriously, thank you guys for so much for inviting me. You can find me easily, Mr. Wright Way on YouTube, on Instagram, Mr. Wright Way with _, on Twitter, Steve Wright Jr., on Facebook, Mr. Wright Way, all those types. I love to talk. If you see up in the chat, I love to talk. I just talk. I love it. I do. That's talking is my thing. I love to meet people. That's my thing. If you come into a convention soon, I'm at a lot of video game conventions. Say, hey, I saw you on VRA or I saw you on YouTube or something like that. I love meeting people. That's like my passion, my mission. I love that. So, if you want to follow me, I hope to create great content that you enjoy. If you don't know about video games and just think video games are just for children, it's not. It actually help out mental health and just help you grow as a person. Follow me too. We have great adventures, and thank you so much for the invitation too.
Absolutely. Thank you. And show some love. We're going to go to Dr. Anna in a second, learn her shout outs and learn her final tips. But Mr. Wright Way, break it down.
Okay.
Final words of just committed to the long haul. You've been posted, enjoying the journey, having fun. So what are your final thoughts for the stream today?
Like I said, have fun is the key. Know that what you're doing, you get to do this. This is such an awesome, I don't even look at it as a job. Don't stress out. Learn to fail. Like somebody said, fail forward. It's okay to fail. It's okay to get it wrong. Enjoy this journey. It's like building a video game collection. It's like Christmas every day for me as in the video game creation suite that we are in. It's like that. So I wake up every morning. I'm like, all right, I'm ready to create content. If I don't, I'm like, all right, I still got stuff out there. I just enjoy all of this. This right here, looking at you guys, talking to you, getting new tech, making videos on my iPhone, just traveling, meeting stuff. It's so many opportunities. It just like I said in the Bible, it's like, and I'm a paraphrase, but your gifts will make room for you. The gifts that God gave you will make room for you. So all the gifts you get, don't sleep on them. Use them. Glorify for God. Use them for the kingdom. I'm telling you, it will take you so many places. I cannot imagine what the gifts God gave me, where I'm being at, like going across the world, getting invited somewhere for for free, meeting different people and helping people. Oh my, y'all, come on. God is good. That's what I'm just saying.
Steve, man, I appreciate you so much. Sending you massive love and respect today. And Steve's still reading your comments. So shout him out, gratitude and all that kind of stuff. But Dr. Anna, man, you've added so much value today. And we would love to hear some parting words. But where can people follow you? What are you up to? And everyone's got to go subscribe to Mr. Wright Way, especially if you're into gaming. And Dr. Anna, especially because let's get our health right, our nutrition right. But where can people connect? What are you up to online and that kind of stuff?
Yeah, I am a YouTuber, doctor. And so you can hit me up on my channel. It's it's Dr. Anna Pleet as the name, but at Anna Pleet MD. I don't know what that's called, that at thing, like my name from the at is the same across all of the other platforms. So I'm at Anna Pleet MD on TikTok, Instagram, and Facebook as well. Those other channels, as I talked about earlier, are way less fleshed out. So if any of you are good at social media and you want to help me out, feel free to DM me. I would love to hear your ideas. But yeah, I'm mostly on YouTube. I'm focusing on long form videos. I'm going to try to branch out and do some lives, maybe live cooking demos, because I'm going to get way busier starting the summer. So yeah, that's where I am. You can always find me there. But I want to kind of part with all of you listening with this idea. And it's something that a friend in college told me. Her mom would always say it. And it really has stuck with me through everything I've done in my life. It's show, don't tell. So what do I mean by that? The thing about YouTube is it's a place where people, I talked about this earlier, like they come to kind of relax, to learn something, and sometimes to just be entertained and enjoy themselves. So recognizing that if you're having fun as a creator, like the audience feels that, like that's that natural human connection. And I think this is especially important now that we have all of these AI avatars that are going to start being like their own talking head channels. And it's kind of hard to distinguish like when it's real, when it's not real. I think carrying the emotion through what you say, like having fun making your content, like people feel that. They do. Like it's like when somebody's laughing, you have to respond with a laugh as well. It's really hard not to. So being in the experience, like when I film myself, I make sure I can kind of like feel the energy, and I recognize like, okay, if I'm enjoying this, and I usually am, like this is a lot of fun, then I know that at least one person out there is going to also enjoy it too. And when it comes to content creation, it literally doesn't matter about your niche. Like people can connect to other people who are like feeling their energy. And so whether you're an entertainment channel or an educational channel or an edutainment channel, like you have to bring your own fire and like figure out what lights you up and like put that into your videos. You don't have to say it, but if you feel it, I promise you it's going to translate across the screen.
If you enjoyed this content and want to take your YouTube channel to the next level, just click or tap the link on the screen or go to tube1kchallenge.com to join our next live YouTube challenge. You'll learn our best tips and strategies that are working here at Think Media, and I think you'll love it.